that's okay. Cause once you hear my poppin', you're gonna walk this way. Now I sound different. Nothing quite.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition, to another installment of Hashtag Fade to Black. I am your host, Donnell Lamonte Morris, and this show is sponsored by Sky Zone Society. Now, this is not just another Hashtag Fade to Black show. It is Mayo's Lounge. Unfortunately, Mayo will not be joining us. He's doing bigger and better things. Y'all already know how Money Mayo is. You know, when money never sleeps, okay? So he's out there cutting business, making business, doing business. So, but still, we're going to carry on the Mayo's Lounge for him with a mix of Black history. I actually got some history that we both going to be learning together. History that they don't even teach you barely in schools. And I promise it's not CRT, because a lot of y'all get that, even though I am for that. But hey, let's get this show started off right and welcome you to Mayo's Lounge. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mayo's Lounge. Everybody sit down, have yourself a drink, as I do right here. Let me go ahead and get my sip on. Sit back and relax. So, but you know how we always start off the show. We start off with the opening statements. And since it's only just me, hopefully my fellow cast members come in later in the show. And speaking of cast members, panel members, once again, I would like to wish one of our panelists, and that is Beast Johnson. He is celebrating a birthday today. He's turning 22 years old. He's 22 years young. He's celebrating a birthday. The reason why he couldn't join us from the last show was because he was under the weather. And no, it's not COVID. He's actually doing a lot better. So hopefully he will come on the show, and let's go ahead and that he will creep on. But once again, happy birthday to him. But now we will jump into the opening statements. And man, I got a doozy for each and every one of y'all. Because, let's just wait until the opening statements. Let's get it started.
The mafia, they go after the
bro. Listen, we can't hold.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this video that you are about to witness and about to see, you may recognize this brother. Yes, that is Pan-African Strikes Back. And I actually went on his show. Now, y'all remember he was on the show, I think it was like last month or 2 months ago, but he was on the show at the end of last year. And yes, as you will say in this video, that he held my foot to the fire to the Democrats, which I do agree. But on the other hand, let's just say if he held my foot to the fire when he came on my show, I burned the fire when I came on his. Check it out. And this is not a diss to Brandon whatsoever. Brandon, my brother from another mother, we got different views. Cool with him, so there's not no slide diss to him at all. He probably might laugh at this, but here's me on his show.
like with the mafia, they go after the top guys and they don't worry about the guys on the bottom.
He did not force me. DAM Entertainment, bro. You can come on here because you just been avoiding me ever since I came on your channel and put your feet to the fire with that crazy teacher lady. There's the link. But listen, bro.
It had anything to do with it.
We can't hold them accountable. We can only hold ourselves accountable.
And we're gonna. You said you're right, accountable. And we're gonna count everybody, white, whoever.
You got to turn off YouTube, bro. Listen, we can't hold.
All right, let me stop that. Backstory. I was actually looking for my headphones so I can better hear them, so they wouldn't have to hear the feedback. And me, I'm all about professionalism and also being organized before coming on the show. And I get very irritated when things does not fall into place. But unfortunately, I had to get on without the headphones because I lost them at that time, which is these headphones that I got on right now. But enough of that. Let's continue.
White people accountable. we can only hold us accountable. If someone shows you their true colors and you still getting duped by them,
Hey, Brandon, can you hear me?
Yes, but
All
Michelle,
right, Brandon. Okay, so first of all, I had
bro, it's Michelle N's turn. Go ahead, Michelle.
Go. Hi, how are you? Greetings, everyone. I'll allow the gentleman to go and come back.
All right, gentlemen, you can go ahead. She's feeling generous today. Go ahead. Go ahead, Almonte.
Oh, hey, Brandon. First of all, don't sit there and lie and say that I avoid you, because first of all, I was doing a thing called defend this country. Second of all, I sent you a text saying thank you for coming on the show and all that. So I have not been avoiding you. And also, I forgot to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you so very, very much. So what the brother been saying, his name is Ben, right?
Yes.
He's making sense. Okay. You gotta give him credit for that. You just can't sit there and say, well, nobody forced you to sell the drugs, man. You can't say that, man.
Have you ever smoked crack?
Like for real. You cannot sit there and say, well, nobody didn't force my hand. So
Listen,
my question is, why did you do it?
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever smoked crack?
That doesn't matter.
I'm asking you a question.
Not Ben, Brandon.
Listen,
the question is this:
bro,
if you had to sell the drugs and you said nobody didn't force you, then why you do it?
Have you?
Now, a lot of y'all probably wondering, well, Morris, you were over talking Brandon. You over talking him. Let me be frank when I say this. If you watch Brandon's show, he does filibuster a lot of people a lot. I mean, a whole lot. So don't let him saying he gave me room to talk fool you. I'm just going to throw that out there. So let's keep it moving.
Ever smoke crack?
That does not matter.
Yes,
That's not the question. The question
yes,
is, you literally just said on your show right here, right now, and then trying to discredit Ben when all he was saying was the Contras, the CIA, Ronald Reagan put the drugs in black communities,
Man,
and you sit there and say black people had no choice.
So backstory. The reason why I came on this brother, I don't think y'all can see my mouse. Hopefully you can. This brother is the second. It's a female picture. I think that's a family member or something like that of his. But this brother's named Ben. What Ben was talking about, the part that him and Brandon was going back and forth with, was the crack epidemic. Brandon's on the side of black people, you wasn't forced to sell it, and using his experience as a generalization of, nobody forced you to sell it. Ben was saying, well, the drug shouldn't have been in our communities, flooding our communities in the first place. That's what Ben was saying. And that's the part that we was talking. That's the part that I was, really felt disheartening, because we cannot, in this day and age, be getting mad at the abuse. It's been a while since I used an analogy. So you got an abusive owner that beats his dog, or she beats her dog every day. And then one day, the dog is not on the leash and it attacks a little kid. But we blame the dog. And that's it. We don't blame the owner. See, we are in a world where we look at what is going on now, and then we talk about the after effects, the aftermath, rather than what led to this, what started this. You will never see a police officer or a detective in a crime scene just saying, how did this happen now? They want to know what led to this. Did the victim actually had history with the killer? What led to the killer to kill the victim? It's always a cause and effect. But then also, I think it's more of the start, the middle, and then the finish. Nobody want to talk about the start. So with that being said, we just can't sit there and say, well, black people, there's a lot of, crack up in your community. You wasn't forced to sell it. That's a very That's a horrible, defense of why black people are still hurting from the crack epidemic. Because you gotta understand, it was a different time back in those days. I was just probably just still a little baby. Different time. And then you gotta think about how the black community was back in the day anyway. I guess you never heard of Freeway Ricky Ross. And I'm not talking about the rapper. Where this man was literally giving drugs. Sometimes just, here you go, without even paying it. Pennies on the dollar. And he's selling it all through California. Was he wrong for doing that? Yes. But look who influenced him and gave him all the access to that crack. When you got barely 2 nickels to rub together to either pay the rent, feed your family, and also which is we're gonna lean on to that point. You got all these issues going on in your community, or if you do got a job, let's say a good paying job, and you want more for yourself, and you got this opportunity, you think back in the day people going to pass that up? Yes, they were wrong for selling the crack cocaine, but also it was wrong for that drugs to be flooded in the community. So like I said, going back to my analogy, we can't get mad at the dog for being aggressive, mean, and attacking every little kid or person that it sees. There's a reason for that. There's a reason. The dog just didn't woke up and I chose violence today. That dog woke up to violence, went to sleep, went to sleep violent because of the owner. So we just can't sit there and just be stuck on now and then after. So let's continue.
Sitting there saying nobody make you do it.
Listen,
But
bro.
look at how impoverished those communities was back in the day, Brandon. You just can't sit there and say that, man. Come on, man.
Listen,
This was making sense, and I'm so surprised of your comments, of the comments that's going on in your chat room, sitting there saying that Ben was not making no sense.
Calm down, brother.
Hearing that, Ben was making sense,
bro.
And I hope he's still on and he can hear me.
Come on, man, calm down. Listen, no one made me.
I like how he kept saying, "Tell me to calm down," but I'm really passionate about that. I mean, because you got people. I always say when you say things like that, you got impressionable minds out there. And I'm not just talking about kids. You got people that are my age that listens to this and they're going to run with it. And we have to be careful with the things that we say on our shows. And so I'm very passionate when it comes to something like that, because somebody is taking this and they taking it to heart. And so, yes, was I very passionate with what I was saying? Yeah. And I stand by it. You know, as content creators, as hosts, we should be held to an account and take responsibility for the things that we say. So that's why I was very passionate about this, even though it's a method to my madness when you hear it later in this video.
Well, no, I
mean, nobody didn't make you drive a car, but you got to drive a car to get to work, right?
Right, and I wanted to make some fast money faster than what I was getting at my job.
Okay, so you're telling me that you couldn't do that. So what made you do it?
I wanted fast money.
You want fast money, fast cars, but you realize you cannot sit there and make a generalization just because you wanted fast cars, fast money. That somebody needed to support their families and daughters. I mean, you hear it in hip hop almost every day.
And the funny thing is, I repeat the question because I was so much on the road. So that's a smack of the hand for me. I repeated the question of like, why are you doing? I'm shocked that he asked the question twice. I was expecting him to be like, because I caught myself when I realized I asked the damn question twice. I'm like, shit. So I was happy that he answered both times. So I give Brandon props on that for answering it twice. But I just caught that I asked that question freaking twice. But keep on going.
No, that's the truth that
you don't accept.
That's the truth you don't want to accept. But I still love you though, Brandon.
Listen, bro. You don't need spinning wheels to.
There's
feed
not
your
spinning
family.
wheels. This is truth that
You
you
don't.
don't want to hear.
You don't need true religion to feed your family. Look, this is what I'm telling you. The reality is this, bro. We start off selling dope, and the excuse is I need to feed my family.
Oh,
Next
but,
thing you know,
but
we got
Brandon,
to
you can't use your experience and thinking
listen,
that everybody else just
yo,
want to do it just because it's a cool thing to do, man. Like, come on, man. You gotta be
bro.
serious.
And that's one of the things that's the problem with this society anyway, is we do generalize a lot just to make an argument. When you see a group of people and you just only see one of them do it, we all say that whole group. Because I've been a part of it. You ever heard that saying guilty by association, and we just accept that as an unwritten rule? Because I could be a part of a group, and I know that this group is doing all the horrible, wrong things. But they don't know I'm the one that's trying to tell them to calm that mess down, because we all gonna be looking bad. But then we got one of them that's want to do their own thing and make us look bad. But like the old saying go, you are the company that you keep. Which is true to an extent. Because from an outsider, they think everybody in that group is all the same. Which is not. You literally have to get to know the people within the group to understand who they are, what they're representing. And know that not every single body is the same. Yes, we're part of the same group, but we're not the same. You understand? You know, you just can't sit there and generalize my family because I'm the black sheep of the family. You know, if I want to go out there, commit crimes, and do drugs, that shouldn't, yes, would that make my family look bad? Yes, but that's not saying that they all are drug dealers. Let's say they are millionaires, billionaires, and they did everything for me to succeed in life, but I just turned it down. So why in the world should they be looked down upon because of my fuck up? You see what I'm saying? And then we can't judge our experiences with everybody else's. You know, somebody could have had a great experience at Walt Disney, where my experience sucked. You know, you just can't sit there and say, well, you know, Walt Disney is horrible. I wouldn't take my grandma there if I could. But I went there and I have a great time. So once again, it goes back to being careful what you say when you get on these platforms. That's why I always say, coming from me, rather than just saying it out like it's a fact or it's the truth. I can't base my experience off of somebody else. You know, I can't. Or have them base their experience off of what they think they're going to get. Like every time a new soldier came into my unit, I introduced him to everybody, but I told him, I said, this is my experience, but don't judge my experience. Don't expect your experience to be your experience. You know, all the people I don't like, you may become friends with. All the people that I don't like, you become friends with. I think I repeated that, but y'all understand what I'm saying. You know, the people that I like, you may not like. The people that I don't like, you become friends with. So that's why I never want to put my experience on anybody. I said, that's just my experience. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to understand your surroundings, because your experience is going to be a lot different than mine. So when Brandon is making this generalization because he wanted the fast life, he wanted the cars, he wanted the money, the honeys, and all that stuff, it's not going to be the same with Leroy over here. Leroy could be the one that is trying to make a living for his family. And then you got JJ over here. JJ probably just want to help out his community. But for him to help out his community, he need the money. So everybody got different experiences and different reasons why they sold drugs. And each and every one of the reasons why is all tied in together. Nobody just sit and wake up and just say, hey, I just want to sell drugs. It's a reason why. There is a reason. But let's continue.
We can have a dialogue, but if you over talk me,
no, because you like to filibuster a lot.
I'm not filibustering. I'll let you talk. And then
I know, but you like to filibuster a lot. But all the things that you're saying, Brandon, is very disheartening to hear.
I'm a Republican, so I like the filibuster.
Yeah, I know. That's why they're not getting anything.
And see, and that's the reason why I came on the show like that. Now y'all see.
Done. And also for that woman that's that became the president, but look who stopping the bills and stuff going through. But anyways, that's a different story. But back to this.
You voted for Joe Biden. Stop.
Yes, I did, and I'm not ashamed of it.
And what has he done?
Also, I know everything that's going on in my party.
Wait.
Generalize stuff so that you can think that you have a point.
Listen, you voted for Joe Biden.
Yes, I did.
What has Joe Biden done for Black people since he's been in office?
Okay, well, so we just going on that point.
What has he done,
folks?
That's all voting.
What have the Black people's done? First of all, simple civics. If you don't have two people that's stopping the Build Back Better plan in your own party, what can you do?
Build Back Better plan.
That's a straw man argument.
Simple civics, ladies and gentlemen. I always preach that on the show. It's funny what Joe Biden have done. If you understand simple civics, I wish I could explain much more. Basically, when president only got these powers, power of executive order, power to veto, and the power to sign. Those are the only three powers that a president has. And people are failing to understand that. President Biden can only do so much. This is why the strength in your party makes a difference in the Congress. Because my point that I was saying is, in the Build Back Better plan, unfortunately, they're going to try to break it up and vote on each and every issue that was supposed to be in the bill separately. That will help out schools. That would give money to states, all that. But unfortunately, when you have two of your own constituents in your party that is stopping your progress, that's not the president's fault, even though the president should be stepping on their toes. Like, look, you're going to push this through. Or let's say something's going to happen with your state. Do some mafia type shit. So for anybody that tell you what have President Biden done, and not to mention that they're a different party, first of all, you'd be like, what have your party done? You haven't done anything but block what the president and what his party's been trying to pass. It's funny how that works. What have you done? Okay, but what have you done to improve the situation? See, people understand simple civics. We won't be talking about what have President Biden done. I'm just saying. Because not one man or one woman have the power to change anything. They have to have constituents. They have to have people, their people in their party to whip up those votes. You see it also in freaking organizations and business. You see this also in gangs. For that leader to have complete control, he had to have generals. People that rock with him the long way, that helped him get up to power, that goes up there with him or her to power. And once they get up there, did they make everybody else fall in line? It's simple. If you look at all the world leaders, big time generals in our history, you think it was just them going up the ranks and people just all of a sudden just listen to them? They have to have influence. They have to have those followers. And not to mention those followers have to have guarantees like when your tenure's over, who's going to take the role as leader now? It's simple. It is simple. But let's continue.
Democrats ain't doing anything. You don't know
Listen, bro.
civics 101.
We got to do a show together. But
Heck yeah, man. That's why I'm up on here.
listen. There's not a straw man argument.
That is.
The Democrats haven't done nothing for black people in
What have Republicans done?
Huh? We don't.
What have the Republicans done? Not a goddamn thing.
We don't support Republicans.
You're right. I don't support Republicans as much as you don't support Democrats. But
and that's the famous thing. What have Democrats done? And I'm asking, what have the Republicans done? And no answer. But y'all got control of the party. Y'all got control of the Congress. Okay. It goes back to what I said earlier. You got two of our own party peoples that's not pushing anything. But would you think that the Republicans will carry the ball and come up with something better? You know, it's not a lost opportunity. Because if I see somebody dropping the ball, don't you think you want to pick that ball up, be like, since they're not offering you anything, this is what we offer. But you don't see that happening. But everybody like to go ahead and bash the Democrat Party when I'm sitting here looking like, okay, what have the Republicans done? How about this? What are you doing to help improve black people's lives? Saying.
I'm telling you, what have the Republicans done?
Hey, Donald Trump did a lot for black people.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Listen,
this is when this starts to go off the rails.
I did a show highlighting the things he
didn't do a damn thing. Because majority of the stuff, the first part of his year was thanks to Obama.
Why are you denying?
No, there's no denying, because if you understand simple civics, the first year of the president depends on what the last president did in his term.
Bro, there are executive
orders. Period.
There's exactly 14 executive orders that he did.
Listen, there are executive orders that Trump put in that directly help black people.
No.
That's it.
No.
Yes.
Name one.
You're in denial. You're in denial.
It's not no denial. Name me an executive order. Name me an executive order that black people is better off now.
You said what?
Name one executive order.
The one where the women couldn't be chained to the bed when they give birth to babies.
Oh my gosh, you really? Well, Brandon, I just want to come up in here.
And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there's no such executive order. And I will show you why.
I want to come up here and just give my piece, man. But yeah, let's do
okay.
a show, man.
So black woman, I love you too, bro. But a black woman brought that up to Trump. He put in an executive order banning that, outlawing that.
Are you really making that an accomplishment, Brandon? I love you. I'm gonna go ahead and get off. I'm gonna go ahead and get off. But Brandon, yeah, man, I need you to come back on the show. And also, that crazy lady is Teach, and she's watching, man. She's gonna get you when you come on the show.
I'm gonna be got then. All right, bro. Thank you.
All right, catch you, Brandon. Bye.
Hey, black men who vote Democrat are crazy, bro.
No, you just don't like to hear truth, Brandon. So let me go and show y'all the executive order. Let me show you that. So I did my research. Y'all know me. And I was like, let me go and look up the executive orders that this man has put in. So let me go ahead and share this with y'all. Let me see it's on the screen. So this comes from, excuse me, hold up, my laptop's running slow. I don't know why. So this comes from the Federal Register.gov. So this is a government website. And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now, this is all through Trump's presidency. So you got these steps right here. So tell me, I actually looked at half. I'm going to be for real. I looked at half of these executive orders, but tell me, do you see anything that says dealing with women, medical practices, Because what I'm seeing, I don't see absolutely nothing. I do see for protecting law enforcement officers, judges, prosecutors, and their families, but nothing dealing with women being handcuffed to bedside posts. Y'all can look it up for yourselves. These are the executive orders. And the ones that he said, don't see it. But Brand's my dog, Brand's my boy. Everybody have their difference in views. But when you say things like that, I do get passionate. I do get passionate. And me, who had parents that shield me from things like that in our community. Drug lords, people that dealt drugs. Yes, did they love the fast life? Yeah. But everybody got a rhyme and reason. Because just because they wanted the fast cars and the fast life, there has to be a motivating factor for them to make this fast cash. So nobody just didn't woke up, I want a nice car, a nice ride. They had to wake up in a house that barely had anything. Their mom or their father had to work 3 damn jobs just to make ends meet. Probably roaches running around the freaking floors and them just having hand-me-down suits, hand-me-down clothes, shoes, on welfare. You had to put that into account because that's majority of the time what the issue was. Black people back in the day in these areas that was flooded with drugs was not driving Rolls Royces. Some of them were barely in the middle class. So yes, I do. Yes, I do take things like that seriously, definitely when it comes to our people. And once again, we have to be careful with all the things that we say on our platforms because we do have impressionable minds out there that will take this and run with it. Because people still to this day do not do the proper research at all. I'm not sitting there saying that Brandon is saying anything that is fake news or nothing like that. I'm not saying that at all. I believe Brandon do got great great content, but then there are times where he just missed the mark. Don't make me love him don't love him no less, but he missed the mark. And what happened on that show? I came with the fire and I didn't let up. And I wasn't just doing for the people that went through that. I was doing that not only for myself, but knowing history says differently than what Brandon was saying. So we are going to work on Brandon coming on to the show. I cannot wait. Love to have him on. I think that was my first time of me coming on his show, and I appreciate him for allowing me to come on and filibuster the hell out of him. But let's get ready for the main course. Let's get ready to learn some Black history. But we will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. So let's get into some Black history. So a lot of y'all, one thing I like about Black history is that I love history. For anybody who does not know, or people who went to school with me know that I love history. I think history, that's the only place I score higher than a B. I score A's and B's up in there because I just love knowing new things and understanding new things. And when it came to history about my ancestors, it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. That majority of the stuff that we love and that we continue to enjoy to this day was 9 times out of 10 were created and invented by Black people. Like the one that really took me off guard was the first vehicle was actually invented by a Black man. And Henry Ford, who basically bought the patent from them, people think that he was the one that created the first vehicle, but it was an assembly line. He was the one that came up with that. But here's the catch with the assembly line too. It was an idea that he got from his old friend, George Washington Carver, which actually blew my mind because he got the assembly. Listen to this. He got the idea. George Washington Carver got the idea from the assembly line from a peanut. You ever heard somebody say, if you listen, you can hear the plants talking to you. You can talk to your plants. Now, y'all probably heard that before. But the crazy thing is that came from George Washington Carver. He said that the plants talked to him. That's where that came from. George Washington Carver was a man before and ahead of his time. And people just do not understand that a lot of these things that we enjoy came from people like George Washington Carver. And that's why I love history. But then we also get in the weeds of history being taught wrong. And that's why it's up to us to look this history up and that we get it right for ourselves. Because we even got people like Dr. King's story is being, every time his birthday comes up, people want to stir narratives or just take part of his freaking speech and just use it as propaganda. And not going through the whole speech or all the things that he says. Or people like Malcolm X. People want to talk about Malcolm X when he was in the Nation of Islam, but never want to talk about the Malcolm X that got kicked out of the Nation of Islam. Nobody don't want to talk about that. There's so much history that's been taught to us wrong, and I just thank all the historians that actually do their jobs, who actually do their research and tell these stories the way that they should be told and do their proper research, get the proper paperwork and correct everything that we was taught and everything that we learned, saying this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong, this is how it's supposed to go. And I remember it was actually a commercial of, I think it was for Hidden Colors, where one of the interviewees said something and it struck me to the soul. He said the reason why they stopped digging in the ground, the blacker the history got. And I'm like, oh, maybe want to clutch my visual first. I'm like, whoa. You say the more they dig, the deeper they dig, the blacker the history got. Because people are realizing that black people has a lot to do with the innovation of where this world is, where it came from and how it is now. Which leads to this. It leads me to talk about these disheartening stories that's been coming up these past 2 years. And some you may be familiar with, and then the rest, just like how I found out, you're like, wow. But I want to do one that everybody should know. Definitely if you live in Georgia or live around, you know, the Forsyth area or Atlanta area. And so let me go ahead and pop this screen up for y'all. Let's go ahead and share this. We're going to learn this together. But I think this one that everybody should be familiar with. And that is Lake Lanier. Hope I said that right. Lake Lanier. Now, I never knew. So let's first of all, let's go ahead and just get this. Let's go ahead and knock this out the way for Lake Lanier. What I was told before finding out this was a black thriving town. People said there's a lot of bad juju and bad spirits at Lake Lanier. Other than a Klan rally, this is up there tied for number one. To not to go there. People were told, of all places, definitely with the freaking tall tales about this area, don't send or bring your ass there. Reason being is because if you don't know how to swim, you might not want to go. Because they've been having lots of deaths over there, mysterious deaths of people who knows how to swim, but they never came back to the surface. Bodies were never found. People drowning left and right. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you could count me out. But you still got young kids and people going out there, you know, fishing, going out there to have fun on the lake and the boats and all that stuff. And still you got a lot of people losing their lives and mysteriously not finding their bodies. Now, if they found their bodies, you know, my heart goes out to their families, but you can count me out. But now, which leads to this story, that it once was a town. Because this lake wasn't a naturally made lake. This was a man-made lake. Over a town called, as you can see, Oscarville. Oscarville was a thriving black town. So just think of it as a chocolate city. Everybody's doing great, helping one another out. So consider this, now, like I say, I call Black Wall Street Chocolate City. So it's a chocolate city. But just like any other chocolate city during this time, there's always a downside. There's always a terrible, horrible ending to this story. And that terrible story was dealing with rape. As you can see in the middle parts right there, that a white woman accused 2 teenagers of raping. Not only just raping, murdering. Well, I won't say a white woman did, because apparently the white woman, as you can see, was raped and killed. And these 2 young teenagers were prosecuted, which led to a race massacre. Which black people, just Just think of what happened at Black Wall Street. It happened to this town. So then they was just like, F it. Let's disappear this town. Let's make a lake. And just pretend that this never happened. Let's bury this secret in bodies of water. And that's where you have Lake Lanier. People say that the spirits of that town haunts that lake. And that's why you have these strange ass deaths and drownings and not finding bodies. And I'm like, if you hear something wrong with the lake, I'm not swimming. First of all, I don't swim. Matter of fact, I would never swim. Definitely if the freaking place is haunted. You can count me out. Hell to the no. But people still go out there to Lake Lanier. They still out there living their best lives. But I just tell anybody, I never been there, never will. I heed warnings. I don't test them. When somebody said don't do it, I'm not going to do it. Or if I see somebody that did it and didn't come back the same, I ain't going to do it. But for anybody who want to take this there or just treat it like any other lake or any other freaking vacation site, go on ahead. But if you look like me and you just want to go out there, you might want to brush up on its history and understand what you're getting yourself into. Because it's not only just disrespectful for you as a Black individual, for anybody of that matter, but you're disrespecting the massacre that happened and that their ancestors, the white ancestors, tried to bury it underwater. So think about that. So now, as we stroll, so I can't pronounce that, so I'm happy that they got this one. Benson, Alabama. And y'all know how I feel about Alabama. You would never, ever, 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 ever see me go to Alabama. Never. I almost got orders to go to freaking Alabama. I'm like, nope. Hell no. Never, 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 never. But this is one I'm just seeing right here. Turns out Alabama's Lake Martin is built on a previous majority Black town. It has homes. It is home to the first Black-owned railroad started by William E. Benson and the Black school I can't pronounce that word. Academic Industrial Institute. Wow. You know, I'm going to look this up on Google so I can understand how to pronounce this. So I'm going to go ahead and take this real quick. So that's right there is great history. Let me see how you pronounce it. Let me see. Let me see. Kowali. I need to pronounce it. Let me see. Hold up. I'm trying to get this right. Okay, here we go. Kowalika. Oh, snap. Kowalika. Woo! A light just went off. No spirits. I'm gonna let y'all know it was connected to this. It took all the dang power. Hold up. Kowalika. Hopefully I said that right. So this was a first Black-owned railroad station. Wow. But see, when we think about railroad stations or railroads in general, we think about California. and what happened when the immigrants from Japan, what they had to go through, from China, they had to go through. I think I bludgeoned that whole entire thing. So if I bludgeoned that history, I apologize. But we always think about that. So this is my first time hearing that. So going on from there, Williams is the son of John Benson, who was an enslaved and then freed. Was enslaved, then freed. He went on a journey to rescue his sister in Florida, who was separated during slavery, and they made their way to Alabama. John purchased thousands of acres of land, sold it to black families where he formed a community. William helped his dad expand the family business. After David's death, the closing of schools and Qualica was destroyed to make room for Lake Martin. Well. I mean, it doesn't say too much of what happened, but 9 times out of 10, you can pretty much can imagine what probably happened, which that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Because I'm not gonna sit here and have that just be it. What had happened? What happened? I'm currently looking at, oh, wow. So let's go ahead and take this one off, because this one is very disturbing, ladies and gentlemen. Just the first picture is very disturbing. That's Alabama, this area right there. So what had happened? Like I said, it was a thriving town. We know that it had a black college, the first black railroads, and hundreds of homes. Okay, we got that part. So let me see. It doesn't say too much. But hopefully y'all can but yeah. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna be my duty. That is going to be my absolute duty to find out what happened to this town. I don't even want to talk about all the rest of them. I want to talk about this one. I'm gonna research this one. That's going to be my next show, because we going into Black History Month, and I got the first Monday of every month. I'm going to find out about this place, and I'm gonna present it onto the show, because I need to find out what happened in this black community. Need to find out what happened. I know in the pit of my gut what happened, but I want to know what actually happened. Because once again, we got a lot of historians out there that love to tell their story. I want to hear the story of what happened. And I mean, just hearing all these black thriving towns. I mean, it's bad enough that you got what happened at Black Wall Street and what happened in Rosewood when they got ran out their freaking homes and the white ancestors just took over. But hearing man-made lakes being put over these communities like nothing happened. Like people still believe that there was a perfect city called Atlantis, but don't understand that there were cities like that in America. I won't say cities, but towns. But they will I would say they will equal a city today. where we have Black Atlantis that's underwater. Not just one, but many. Think about that. And that's not even the worst part. You know, over here, they call it freeways. I call it the interstate. You got interstates, freeways that are built across or on or through Black communities, once thriving Black communities. And not only just that, but also Latin communities. This is why, remember I made that little joke about, you know, it's not critical race theory, but I still support that we should learn critical race theory. This is why we should learn critical race theory. I shouldn't be finding out about this history in the middle years of my life. This is a history that I want my kid to learn. Because when we get into this argument on should CRT be taught and the white kids feel all comfortable and it's teaching America to be decisive, America's already decisive. America can't look themselves in the mirror right now. America don't know what it is. But the one thing that we have to understand, that America has a bloody history. And when when a lot of people hear me say America has a bloody history, you think of wars. No. No. Far from it. We talk about within the country. You know those family secrets that around my age that your mom, your dad, your auntie, or your aunts had to tell you? This is it. That's CRT. They just think since we didn't tell you about all these years, but you got by, you got by good. You got by, you look, you didn't ask then. Why you asking now? You came out great, you came out good. Why are you bringing up some stuff that means nothing now? When all reality, it does mean a whole hell of a lot. I understand that you didn't want to tell me to protect me, but it would have been great if I would have knew something about it. And this is why, and it just ties on to my opening statements on that when I went on Brandon's show. That's why I was so passionate. That's why I was so passionate with the things I said and that I'm saying now. Because we're so worried about now, that we don't look at what the cause to all of this that led to what's happening now and then the aftermath. This is why I don't get the self-reliance and not understanding that that's even worse than the history that led us to this point. Thinking that we create ourselves in this bubble that nothing shall affect us. And majority of us barely know our history. So my question is to this. For those who still think self-reliance is what's going to help the Black community, here's my question to you. What history are you going to leave that people are going to remember you for? Or what your kids going to remember you for? Think about that. Because a lot of y'all want to be shown and point the fingers of people who's not doing for self, but you're doing for self. But then when you all dead and gone, what are people going to remember? A lot of y'all say y'all don't care. Bullshit. If you didn't care, you wouldn't bring it up. You would have kept it pushed, you would have kept it moving. But a lot of y'all have to be seen. A lot of y'all have to get your opinions out there. A lot of y'all want to just showboat and show how much you got and just tell people what you don't have. And this is the reason why you don't have it. But then when people come at you, now all of a sudden, now you're the victim. So what history do you want to leave? Because you can't have your cake and eat it too. Be like, with hell with our history, I'm making my own. But then when you're dead and gone, you want your kids to remember you, right? What did mommy do? Well, if you teach your kid to be self-reliant, why should they care what you left? They just know that you just inherit whatever they had onto them. They could care less. So what history are you going to leave? It's important that we, not only just Black people, but everybody that don't look like me, to understand when we say America got blood on their hands, we're not talking about war. We're not talking about wars. These stories right here is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. This is why America is so decisive, because the other side don't want to face this. They just pretend because we're great friends, and that just erases everything. That's like me being a friend of a murderer to my, knock on wood, if they murdered my father. But we're good friends. That just negates everything. And that's including that the dude said that he was sorry. That's how I feel when people just ignore this history. And just pretend that since it's not something like that's not happening now, that why should it matter? It does matter. It matters wholeheartedly. Unfortunately, every day I'm probably driving through a once thriving Black or Latino town or Indian reservation or that was thriving. And that's the sad thing about it. A lot of things that we're doing right now comes from slavery. Businesses that probably changed their name or still got the same name then, like they had back then, and you're doing business with them. So yes, the history back in the day affects what goes on now. Once again, goes back to my opening statements. People want to talk about now, but nobody don't want to go back to the root cause or the starting point of what led to all of this. A gun just don't shoot by itself. It had to have somebody pulling the trigger. Or somebody tried to pull the trigger, they actually drop it and this gun goes all by itself. But guess what? Somebody had to make it do it. Somebody had a hand in it. So it hurts my soul that we are learning history like this years and years and years and years later. Until America can realize that their history wasn't all sunshines and rainbows and bees and milk and honey. That it has a very, very, very dark history. So dark, it made the medieval times seem like fantasy land. This is why critical race theory is so important. Does it make people feel uncomfortable? That's what it's supposed to do. Do you still feel uncomfortable when you get a shot? Do you feel uncomfortable when you get on a plane that's about to take off? Do you get uncomfortable when you get on a roller coaster ride? Do you get uncomfortable when you about to go in for surgery? See here, these are the things that you have to think about. All those things that I just said, but you know in the back of your mind, you like, even though I'm afraid of needles, but I still need to take this shot. For me, who is fully vaxxed and got the booster. I know that that booster is going to help me fight COVID and wherever these new mutations. I know that my body can fight it off with the help of the booster and the vaccine. Do I get uncomfortable when I get on the plane? Yes. Yes. But guess what? I know when I'm finally up in the air, I'm good. As long as I make it to my destination safely, I'm straight. Yes, is there going to be turbulence here and there? Oh, yeah, it's going to be turbulence. But I'm going to be all right. But see, everybody gets uncomfortable at first. That's what it's supposed to do. You face your fears. But unfortunately, in this case, you're facing the truth. And once America and anybody that's going against critical race theory understands, you have to face the truth. It's not face the facts, facing the truth. Then they'll realize that's a big step, not a step, a big step in the right direction of bringing this country together. When we understand that America got real bloody past and we don't need to repeat it. And if that starts with your kids, then that's a great big step in the right direction. And it's not uncomfortable for the white kids, as the media like to portray it, definitely the right, and even sometimes the middle, CNN, that's sitting there trying to grieve with all these folks that just hate critical race theory. But it's also for that little black girl, that little Latina, that black boy, that Latino boy, that Native American girl, that Native American boy, who gets uncomfortable too. So it's not just the white kids. It's their kids too, who have to either watch the video or have to read that in textbooks as their teacher teaches it. Because the white kid's not the only one affected. They're affected too. Because now they got to realize, oh, snap. My grandma, my great-great-grandfather lived through that time. That's what it's supposed to do. Because those kids going to go back and they're going to ask their parents questions about it, and they're going to have to tell them the truth. And it's up for the teachers to teach it in a way that it will not repeat itself. Not to choose a side of being liberal, conservative, Republican, or Democrat. It's to tell it like it is. To tell it like it is. And that the kids are going back, talking to their elders about it, talking to their parents about it. And once that happened, that is a big step in the right direction. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will look up this story, but I'm going to have to go and end this show. But y'all know me. You know, I got to hit that final thought on y'all. But when we come back, it will be the final thought. And I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in as well. Ladies and gentlemen, my final thought. First of all, thank y'all for tuning into the show. Thank y'all. Don't forget to follow Fade to Black on our Facebook page. Send a like, put in a comment, tell us what you think about the show, and all that great stuff. My final thought is history. History is not all that it seems. And going through this show, it made me understand that. As I already told y'all, I love history. But it's a damn shame that we got to find out history like this later in years down the road when we should be knowing that when it's happening. Meaning also that we have to accept that America has a horrible history, majority of a horrible history. Because for us to get those sunny days, there were some sacrifices that had to be done. For us to enjoy the freedoms that we have, somebody had their freedoms taken away. Some people were killed over it. And y'all probably thinking that I'm talking about war. I'm not. This is a very, 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 very sad time where we are. It's like a cold case, and we finally getting leads. We finally getting the evidence that we've been looking for, and now finally it's all coming to tuition now. Now it's coming out the wash, as they would say. So, like I always preach on this show, research, research, research. Go in researching without a bias. You should go in of what more am I going to learn? What more am I going to get out of this information? And so history shouldn't be taken for granted. And even with the historians telling us all about this history, we should do our due diligence to look further, to go deeper. Because hearing about these stories about man-made lakes over towns and interstates and freeways made through towns, thriving minority towns, is very disheartening. And we still use these places for our transportation and don't even realize it. So it's up to us to understand our history. to do more research about our history. We should not just leave it up to historians, because sometimes historians get it wrong. And sometimes historians don't give enough information about the history. And that's why it's up to us to look up our history. If y'all have that same energy, for people who love Ancestry.com, have that same energy looking up your history here. And ladies and gentlemen, that would do it for me. I got caught up in the show. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Sky Zone Society. Site is strolling at the bottom. Tees, videography. They even got drone photography. So hit them up. But not to mention, they got candles. Smell like an Xbox and a PlayStation 5. Wow. Just saying. Lots more of great things that you can get on Sky Zone Society website. And ladies and gentlemen, that would do it for me. I will see you next Monday with the start of Black History Month, and I will be looking into Benson, Alabama's story and getting to the bottom of what happened to that thriving Black community. But thank y'all, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. I've been your host, Donnell Alamonte Boers. Thank y'all for tuning in. I love y'all. Tell your friends about the show. Thank you so very, 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 very much. Y'all have a good one. Catch y'all later. Bye.
Yeah, I'm pippin', flippin', spittin' these lyrics. Got you feeling what I be saying like you caught the Holy Spirit now. I done went through some shit up in my past, but it fertilized my future. Now I'm harvesting my cash. I like them pretty, but they can't be hot to get it. Talking like I'm gon' buy what you want, you think it's silly, girl.